Have you ever asked yourself why, all of a sudden you just don't feel that urge like you used to? We're not just talking about physical desire, but that tingling feeling, that inner spark that used to light up without you even noticing. You might still love your partner, feel good about your body most of the time, and nothing major may have happened, but still, it's just gone. The desire has vanished, and the worst part? No one warned you. No one told you this part could change too. Hot flushes get plenty of attention, sleepless nights are often mentioned, even weight gain is talked about, but desire barely gets a whisper, as if it's a taboo subject, as if admitting it is more shameful than experiencing it. And there you are, wondering if something's wrong with you, if you're broken, if you're no longer enough. But that's not the case. The truth is that menopause touches deeper parts of us than anyone talks about. And one of those is desire. Let's start with the obvious: hormones. When estrogen levels drop, your whole body changes its rhythm. Estrogen doesn't just regulate your menstrual cycle, it also affects lubrication, blood flow to the genital area, and even how the brain responds to sexual cues. So it's not that you don't want to, it's that your body isn't processing things the same way. The message doesn't come through as it used to, and that can be incredibly frustrating, because part of you still expects to feel what you once felt, but another part simply doesn't react. Here's something few people explain. It's not always just physical, it's emotional, because desire doesn't come from one isolated area of the body. It feeds off your overall well-being, your self-esteem, your sense of freedom and joy. And during menopause, all of that gets shaken. You start noticing new wrinkles, your skin changes, your energy shifts, and without realizing it, you begin to disconnect from yourself. You get caught up in comparing yourself to who you were years ago, and when a woman disconnects from herself, desire is usually the first thing to fade. And you know what's most surprising? Many women think this change is permanent, as if menopause were a full stop. I don't feel desire anymore, so that must be it. But it's not. It's a change, not an ending. And this is where something rarely mentioned comes in: the opportunity to rediscover yourself. Yes, really. Menopause doesn't have to be the blackout of desire. It can be the perfect time to reinvent it. Because sometimes it's not the desire that's died, it's the way we were chasing it. Maybe before it was all about quickness, intensity, predictability, but now your body wants something different: calm, presence, connection. It's no longer about feeling like it as if it's a duty, but about creating space for desire to arise, switching off the autopilot and exploring new paths. And this doesn't mean everything has to involve a partner. Some women rediscover their desire through movement, art, massage, essential oils, a deep conversation. Because desire is also life energy, and when you look at it that way, everything changes. It's not something that should be switched on to please someone else. It's an inner flame that feeds on how you speak to yourself, how you care for yourself, how you feel about yourself. What many don't know is that there's also a neurological component. During perimenopause and menopause, certain areas of the brain responsible for processing pleasure, motivation, and reward are also affected. That can explain why so many women feel they haven't just lost sexual desire, but also the spark for other things: projects, hobbies, even relationships. Everything feels flat, as if something inside has hit pause. But it's not the end of the road. It's a sign, a message telling you it's time to reconnect in a new way. Before we continue, something important. In the description of this video, I've left a resource that could really help you through this stage. It's something several women are starting to use and are seeing real changes. If you're curious, have a look later. It might be just what you need. Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized yourself? That your favorite outfit doesn't excite you like it used to? That it's harder to find something that really moves you? That affects desire too. Because desire doesn't come from duty or fear, it comes from joy. And if there's no joy in the everyday, how could there be any in the intimate moments? That's why it's key to start reconnecting with the small pleasures, the ones that don't need permission or justification. And of course, we can't ignore the role stress plays. During menopause, many women experience an emotional whirlwind empty nest syndrome, aging parents, work pressure, relationships that cool down or shift. And in the midst of all that, we're expected to keep desire going as if nothing's changed. But stress is a silent thief. It creeps in through the cracks of daily life and turns off the lights without us even noticing. When your mind is on high alert, it's almost impossible to feel desire, because your body is focused on surviving, not on enjoying. And here comes another uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the lack of desire isn't just because of menopause itself, but because of everything it quietly brings to the surface. Old wounds left unhealed, unspoken conversations, years of built-up dissatisfaction. Menopause just uncovers it, like lifting a rug that's been hiding emotional dust for years, and suddenly, it all comes into the light. The problem isn't the lack of desire. It's that now you can no longer ignore what you once could. But there's a powerful side to all of this, because the absence of desire forces you to look inward, to ask yourself questions you may never have dared to ask before. What do I really want? What do I need to feel alive? Who am I beyond the roles I've been fulfilling my whole life? And when you start answering those questions, something begins to shift, not all at once, but with real strength. Because reclaiming desire isn't about going back to who you were, it's about creating something new, something more honest, more free, more yours. And here's another key no one tells you. Desire often needs time. At this stage, the whole flip the switch thing just doesn't work anymore. You're not a machine, you're a universe. And universes need space to expand. Maybe before, a kiss or a glance was enough. Now you might need a long conversation, a warm shower, a safe environment, a guilt-free day with no obligations. And that's perfectly okay. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're in a different phase, one where everything runs deeper, and that includes pleasure too. It's also worth saying, many women feel ashamed to talk about this with their partners. They worry the other person will feel rejected, think the love is gone, or start looking elsewhere. But silence also creates distance. And often, an honest conversation can be the first step to reconnect. Because desire doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it's just waiting to be seen, acknowledged, met with kindness, not with pressure, but with tenderness. And if you don't have a partner, this still applies. You might be wondering if you'll ever feel desire again, or if it even makes sense to look for a new connection. The answer is yes, but not by forcing it or by following someone else's script. It comes when you start to reconnect with yourself, with what lights you up inside, even if it's just a tiny spark. Because desire doesn't always start with the body. Sometimes it starts in the mind, with a thought, a fantasy, an intention. What no one tells you is that you can feel desire again, just in a different way. Slower, more mindful, more pleasurable even, and that doesn't make it less valid. On the contrary, it's an evolution, because now you're not doing it out of pressure or fear of losing someone. You're doing it because you want to feel alive, and that, my dear, is a profoundly powerful desire. You are not broken, you are not alone, you are not finished. You are going through a deep transformation. And like all true change, it can feel uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. And if you allow yourself to explore, to question, to open new doors, you'll see that desire never left. It was simply waiting for you to choose yourself again.